Hello, this is Matt on the Moon Family Sedan channel. Ripple's chief legal officer, Stuart Alderati, yesterday openly mocked Kim Jong-Gensler on Twitter, and I absolutely love it. I mean, here's how in his face it was. He literally took a new tweet from Gary Gensler, which I'm going to talk about also, and then he retweeted that in order to mock with what is basically a meme, and I'm going to show you exactly what it is. And I just got an absolute kick out of it. Also, attorney Jeremy Hogan notes why he believes the United States attacks the crypto asset class more than other countries, and I think that's a pretty damn fair assessment of what's happening here. The United States government is attacking crypto more than most other nations out there. There may be a couple others are worse, like, North Korea, but, it's a short list before, the United States would be at the top. And it's silly, but there is a good reason why, and I'm wondering how many of you could guess it before we get to that part of the video. But before going further, I do want to be clear. I do not have a legal or financial background of any kind. I am not offering legal or financial advice. And you definitely should not buy or sell anything because of anything I say or write. I'm just an enthusiast who enjoys making YouTube videos about crypto-related topics, but just as a hobby and just for fun. All right, so here's a tweet from Gary Gensler from 2 days ago. And there's a video clip. I'll get to the video clip in just a second, but here is what Gary Gensler wrote while sharing this video clip. Intermediaries for investment contracts are required to comply with securities laws and register with the SEC. Instead, many crypto platforms are contending that their investment contracts are something else. The law cares what something actually is, not what you call it. And then part of what this video clip does, and it goes 4 minutes, I didn't even bother to transcribe it, I'm just going to describe the core piece of it. The most ridiculous part is, because it's so hypocritical, he notes that, in some dog parks, and I'm paraphrasing, of course, but in some parks, just in general, there are requirements if you have your dog with you that your dog be on a leash. That's a law in some places. And so if you have your dog with you in a park and your dog is not on a leash, a police officer may come up to you and note that you are breaking a leash law. And you could say that your dog is actually a goldfish, but the police officer is probably still going to write you up a ticket because obviously your dog is not a goldfish. And then he says it's basically the argument he's making there obviously is it's the same thing with crypto. You can say that the cryptocurrency is it's not an investment contract, not a security, but everybody can still see that as that's the argument so you can say it's something else, but it still is what it is. And so I looked at that and I just thought the same thing that XRP Productions wrote right here. He wrote in response to that, actually, Gary Gensler, he said, "We also care about what something actually is, not what you call it." And so you could use the same comparison here. Gary Gensler, you can say that XRP, is or represents, it's the embodiment. That's the word. It's the embodiment of Ripple's efforts, this or that, which makes it the investment contract. You can assert that it is, but it's not that. It's either a commodity or just a digital asset, which is in a separate category. Pick what it is. I'll let government agencies, hopefully they're going to have to figure it out. We don't have a choice on that. But it's not just in and of itself a security. It's never the underlying asset itself that is the security. And so you can make the same comparison here. Well, you're calling Gary Gensler, you're calling your dog a goldfish, and saying that XRP is a security, you're calling the dog a goldfish. It's the same argument. It doesn't carry any weight. And so for anybody that's uninformed on the surface, that might sound clever or something like that, but it doesn't really do anything. And so Stuart Alderati, Ripple's chief legal officer, their top in-house lawyer, he retweeted that from Gary Gensler, ensuring that Gary Gensler would end up seeing this, or at least whatever intern runs Gary Gensler's Twitter account. It might not necessarily be him. And shared this picture. And for those of you looking at the screen, you can already see, but I'll just describe it for those of you that might be driving or something like that. But there's a guy holding a leash, which you would expect to see, the type that you'd expect to see on a dog. And then there's a collar around a goldfish in a fishbowl. And then Stuart Alderati wrote, "If the SEC ran animal control." There you go. So you don't put the leash on the dog, you put the leash on the goldfish, because whatever the hell animal it is that the SEC wants to be in charge of. You just put the leash on that. That's pretty much right. So he's openly mocking Gary Gensler here, and I am here for it. I absolutely love it because it's clearly contemptuous, and it should be. Like, who doesn't feel contempt for Gary Gensler? So yeah, mock the damn guy. Now, in response to that video clip, Attorney John Deaton also had something to say. He wrote to Gary Gensler and he said, "Hey Gary," and he also tagged, what is this, Gerber? What's the guy's name? Oh no, this is just the SEC Enforcement Director official Twitter account, I guess. But anyway, so he tagged that account and he says, "Hey Gary, how about you cite a single case in the 76 years since Howey was decided that says, number one, the underlying asset used in an investment contract is itself a security, or number two, the subsequent sales of an investment contract are also securities because of the first sale." I challenged the SEC to cite one case in U.S. history, an XRP holder's amicus brief, and the SEC could not meet the challenge because there is not a single case. And so, Gary can come up with all these fun little metaphors, analogies, whatever the hell, and you just keep on doing that, the dog goldfish thing, whatever, but you're wrong. And you cannot successfully argue against these facts that are cited here by Attorney John Deaton. It is never the asset itself that's a security, and it's never secondary market transactions. But look at what you're coming after. And then there was also this. Somebody named Jason on Twitter shared a clip with Eric Voorhees, who's the founder and CEO of Shapeshift cryptocurrency exchange, and wrote, "Eric Voorhees believes crypto's ultimate goal is creating a new financial system, a system where money is separated from the state and governed by open, immutable code. But states won't give up their control over money without a fight." And this is where attorney Jeremy Hogan jumps in, and he wrote the following. He said, "He's mostly correct. And that's why the state focuses only on the fiat replacement aspect of crypto, ignoring other use cases. It's also why the United States has attacked crypto more than other countries. Protect the dollar. It's about control and power, like most wars." And he's right. And I've been talking about this concept in recent days in a few videos. This idea of the United States dollar being the global reserve and the power that it offers and control that it offers the United States on a global scale. And understandably, the United States certainly does not want to lose that. But, and mostly the way I was going in those conversations was that, and I firmly believe this, with the United States dollar being as debased as it is, it's an inevitability, even just for that reason, that the United States dollar will not always be the global reserve. You can't disrespect a fiat currency like that and then expect that it's always going to be fine and keep racking up debt and printing it into oblivion. It's just let enough time pass. I don't know how much time would have to pass, but even that would be enough. But that's not all that's in the works here. It's not like the rest of the world wants to be beholden to the United States when it comes to this stuff. I mean, that's pretty obvious, isn't it? Look at this headline from the Daily Huddle. 24 nations align against United States dollar as BRICS looks to launch new global currency. A total of 24 nations are now looking to build a strategic alliance that will challenge the United States dollar's decades-long role as the world's reserve currency. The group of 5 economically aligned countries, collectively known as BRICS, is reportedly on the cusp of a massive expansion. The core collective consists of Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa, and a surge of nations interested in joining the alliance would bring the total number of nations to 24. That's according to South Africa's BRICS ambassador, Anil whatever. I'm no good at foreign names, folks. Like, what do you want me to do? Just have a name I can pronounce, and then there won't be a problem. I'm just going to call you John from now on. You're John for the rest of this arc. So anyway, John, who tells Bloomberg that a long list of nations are now looking to join in. John says the list includes 13 countries that have formally asked to join and an additional 6 countries that have informally requested to be part of the alliance. The group of known newcomers includes Saudi Arabia, Iran, Argentina, the United Arab Emirates, Algeria, Egypt, Bahrain, Indonesia, 2 unnamed nations from East Africa, and 1 from West Africa. So there you go, folks. It's just one more thing. We'll see what happens. I don't know how quick something like that would develop. I mean, it's, unless you have some like catastrophic catalyst, it might be to some degree like a somewhat, I don't know. I'm not sure if I believe that. You know what? I'm a little bit wishy-washy on this. It's like the concept of, is it something like something happens and the floodgates open and then you see just a notable increase in the dollar starting to lose its status? Or is it something that happens kind of in slow motion? Maybe at first it seems like it's going a little bit slow and there are X number of things that lead to it. And then at some point it just becomes undeniably clear that the ship has sailed, and then that's when the floodgates open. Maybe that's more realistic, honestly, here. But we're seeing all sorts of things happen. We're seeing the stage has been set. The show's begun. I don't know how long it's going to take, but you can't. And again, it's not just that you can't keep abusing the dollar in the way that the government is. It's that the rest of the world doesn't want to be beholden to that type of power anyway. So I get it that this would be a competing thing, and then they'd be the ones in charge. Whereas what Eric Voorhees is talking about is something that nobody has any special powers over, which would think on a global scale, you think that'd be preferable. Now, if you're the guy in charge, that's the thing you want, of course. But if you're just talking about creating a world from scratch and everybody's just here, then you would want this one thing that nobody has special interest over in an ideal situation. Now, is that a reality we're going to see in the future? Because that's never been the case in the history of mankind. But we've also never had technology that would make such a thing possible. So are we going to see that? It's certainly plausible. But that's what we're looking at here. And so again, it's just one more reason why I'm happy to be holding my XRP. I'm not a financial advisor. You should not buy or sell anything because of anything I say or write. That would be a very, very, very bad idea. Until next time, to the Moon Family Sedan.